I discovered I was positive in Atlanta in the second week of November in 1993. We got tested. 2 weeks later, found out we were both positive. So, Bobby was 12 years younger than myself. I was fully prepared to hear that he was positive, only because I was aware of what he did at his job. Needle sticks were frequent. When they told me first that I was positive and that I had 686 T cells. And then they said that Bobby was positive and he had 21 T cells. And I completely forgot about my own and went into panic mode because at that time there was nothing out there to take really that was saving lives. So my thought at that time was I've got to keep him alive as long as possible. When we left the clinic in Atlanta, we had a little conversation on the way home. Even though he had 21 T cells, he wasn't dead yet, thank goodness. So we decided that we would carry on our lives, do what we needed to do to stay healthy. We went along and everything was pretty okay, and then he started getting sick and throwing up, and we thought, well, it's just a stomach flu. And then about 2 weeks later, I got up one Sunday morning, went in and fixed the coffee, and was sitting there reading the paper in the kitchen, and I heard a noise. It's hard to describe. It was not really a moan, but it was definitely a vocal noise. So I walked in there, and he looked funny. By that, I mean he looked like he didn't look peaceful. And then I shook him, and he wouldn't wake up. And I knew something was wrong. So I ran to the phone. I called 911. And I took him to the hospital, and I told them right off the bat that I was his partner. He had AIDS, and that I was going to go where he went. The nurses were very accommodating. I was very surprised about that. I remember we knew he had CMV, cytomegalovirus. We knew he had pneumocystis, and we found out that he had lesions in the frontal lobes of his brain from KS. Well, he was in the hospital for almost a month. They released him on Valentine's Day and have physical therapists come, and he had lost his ability to walk. He came home on Valentine's Day. I had called a friend of mine in Florida, one of my best friends, and she had come up there to help me take care of him. And we had decorated the room and welcome home and Valentine's decorations and everything. And so he was really excited to be home in his own bed. In the coming weeks, he seemed to improve. He got, his physical therapist came. He was able to start walking with a walker. He seemed like his old self. That went on for about a month. We were able to say everything that we wanted to say to each other. He planned his own memorial service, told me who he wanted there, the entertainment he wanted, and the songs he wanted to be played. And that was very hard for me, but I wrote it down. On March 15th, Kim, my friend that had come up to help me, said, Doug, I think you need to be over here. So I crawled up into bed with him and cradled him in my arms, just held his hands, and I told him that he'd been a wonderful man, a wonderful partner, and that it was time for him to go. I sat there and held him until he took his last breath, and then a scream. It was almost like relief and panic and anguish all mixed into one. I remember immediately I wanted all the medical stuff out of the bedroom, disconnected everything, got it out of there. I wanted it to be our bedroom again.